It's news time. Information is power. The current. The news headline: Biafra court fixes date for judgment in Nnamdi Kanu suit. Abia State High Court has fixed January 19th for judgment in the fundamental human rights suit of the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu. Kanu's special counsel, Alod Ejumako, disclosed this in a statement he issued on Tuesday night. We recall that the suit was heard and concluded on merit on December 10, 2021, before Justice Benson Anya of the High Court of Abia State in Umuahia. The statement by Ejimako reads that, for the information of the media and the general public, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's fundamental rights suit pending before the High Court of Abia State are set down for judgment on January 19, 2022, and the suit initiated by Ejimako on behalf of Kanu prayed that the court declares the military invasion of the IPOB leader in September 2017 by the soldiers as illegal.
And the petition, dated 13th of November 2021, signed by Serap Deputy Director Kolawole Oluwadare, the organization said the intimidation and harassment of Justice Odidi is a flagrant assault on judicial independence and apparently aimed at further weakening the judicial independence and the rule of law in Nigeria. Serap said the unconscionable attacks against Nigerian judges would seem to be a deliberate attempt by the authorities to exert pressure on the judiciary and undermine its independence and authority. These attacks are putting Nigerians' freedom at risk, according to Serap. The current investigation by the Nigerian police fails to meet international standards as it is neither independent nor effective. As such, the investigation is incapable of identifying all the suspected perpetrators and their sponsors and credibly delivering justice in the matter. The petition, read in part, we urge you to push for the adoption of a resolution by the Human Rights Council to establish an international, independent and impartial investigative mechanism into the attack on Justice Odili and other unresolved cases of intimidation and harassment of the judiciary and assault on the rule of law in Nigeria since May 29, 2015. An international investigation into the cases of intimidation and harassment of judges in Nigeria will meet the highest international standards and best practices and assist the Nigerian authority to take steps to improve respect for the independence of the judiciary, the rule of law, and access to justice for victims and human rights. If not urgently addressed, the attacks, intimidation, and harassment of the judiciary will render judges unable to defend the rule of law, to provide accountability for the many gross rights violations in the country, or to protect the rights of the Nigerian people. Nigerian authorities have taken a legal obligation to take measures to protect the independence of the judiciary and ensure the safety and security of individual judges. Serap urges you to visit Nigeria to carry out a mission to investigate cases of intimidation and harassment of judges, assess the independence of the judiciary and the rule of law, and to continue to monitor the situation. The proposed visit would help to support the efforts to bring Nigeria's justice system in line with the international standards and free of political interference. Nigerian authorities continue to fail and also to thoroughly, impartially, independently, transparently, and effectively investigate cases of attacks, intimidation, and harassment of judges, the very people who protect and guarantee human rights, while the Nigerian authorities have arrested some of the suspected perpetrators. At least 10 more persons reportedly involved in the assault on Justice Odili are still very large. Independence of the judiciary is enshrined in the Nigerian Constitution of 1999 as amended, and under human rights treaties, including the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights and the African Charter on Human and People's Rights, to which Nigeria is a state party. The attack on Justice Odili is not an isolated incident. There have been several violations of judicial independence and the rule of law in the country. In 2016, for example, Nigerian authorities reportedly invaded in the middle of the night the homes of some judges of the Federal High Court and justice of the Supreme Court. The authorities have so far failed or refused to identify those suspected to be responsible and to bring them to justice. An independent judiciary is essential to the protection of human rights and respect for the rule of law. The principles of independence are the hallmark of the rationale and legitimacy of the judicial function in every state. Their absence leads to denial of justice and makes the credibility of the judicial process dubious. It is the principle of the separation of powers, together with the rule of law, that opens the way to an administration of justice that provides guarantees of independence and transparency. As expressed in the Bangalore Principles of Judicial Conduct, judicial independence is a prerequisite to the rule of law and a fundamental guarantee of a fair trial. According to our information on Friday, October 29, 2021, some people claiming to be soldiers and policemen invaded the Abuja home of the said Justice Mary Odili, and the perpetrators identified themselves as members of the government joint task force and used a fraudulently obtained search warrant to attempt to gain access into Justice Odili's residence. The perpetrators claimed they had information that illegal activities were going on in such residence, and that was why they went to invade the house of the Justice Odili. And this intimidation and harassment has actually been questioned, and therefore Sarah, who happens to be the special rapporteur on the independence of judges and lawyers over vicious assaults of Justice Mary Odili, had actually took their time to say that this is an intentional act by the federal government of Nigeria to deprive the judicial system of their freedoms, and therefore this poses a great risk to the independence and authority of our judicial system, which will put all Nigerians' freedom at risk if care is not taken. Thanks for listening.